Hi, I'm Greedable, and almost 1 year ago, I decided to jump headfirst into game development with no prior experience. And during my free time, for the last 7 months, I've been working on a frog-themed roguelike, Penumbra Tower. If you're new here, Penumbra Tower is an infinitely scaling tower where you will need to navigate through the randomized floors while avoiding hazards, fight unique enemies, collect items, and see just how far you can climb. If any of that sounds interesting to you, I would really appreciate it if you wishlisted the game on Steam. And I highly suggest that you do. So what have I been working on in the last month? Well, in the previous devlog, I covered enemy scaling, which causes enemies to become stronger every couple floors, and the enemy ability system, which added a unique ability to each enemy type. The pikeman can charge orthogonally to a targeted location, the rat can eat a block of cheese, healing itself, the skirmisher can become enraged, and the crow can shoot a projectile at a target. But recently, I felt like this still isn't enough enemy variety needed for a game to feel exciting and fresh. Games like The Binding of Isaac, Hollow Knight, Hades, and others have a huge variety of enemies, so I knew I needed to get to work. So to remedy this issue, I decided to do something crazy. This devlog, I've added not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 brand new enemies, each with a unique ability, which more than doubles the current pool of enemies that can spawn in. But that isn't the only thing I've been working on. I've also added in a brand new explosive mechanic to the player character that will drastically change how the game is played. But before that, let's talk about the new enemies. I will go through them one by one. When the raccoon ritualist is not eating some ripe garbage, it will use its magic to randomly swap places with the player, potentially teleporting the player into hazards or directly into another enemy unit's path. This may be slightly frustrating, as you might be one tile away from a chest and then get teleported to the other side of the room directly into some spicy lava. A rogue gang of devious raccoons may even throw you around the room like a ragdoll. He's pretty chunky and has his trusty shovel with him. This dirty little guy will sneak up on the player by digging a hole from its current location and emerge on a tile located near the player. Ah, the opossum mimic. Stinky, stinky opossum. It's a pretty simple ability. The opossum will pretend to mimic another unit's attack pattern, and just to make this unit a little more interesting, I've added additional attack patterns to the attack pattern pool. Some are overpowered, and some are not. The main function of this little guy is to catch the player off guard. You may think you are on a safe tile, and then boom, the opossum decides that's his tile now. Welcome to Florida, brother. The Crocodile Cleric is a crocodile that is also a God-fearing member of the church.
Did you pray today?
While the rat will selfishly eat a block of cheese by itself, the cleric will generously heal all allied units. This ability is pretty sophisticated if I do say so myself. The crocodile will take a look at the current combined health of all the enemy units currently alive and heal them if the average is below 50% of the original total. The mass heal ability also synergizes a little bit too well with the next enemy unit, and you will see why. Now, personally, I hate spiders, but this is probably my favorite out of the new enemies, and in my opinion, the Spider Summoner has the scariest ability so far. The Spider Summoner, as its name suggests, can summon spiderlings to help it in combat. The spiderlings are significantly weaker than the other enemy units, but be sure to take care of the Spider Summoner quickly or else it may overwhelm you. So technically that's 6 new enemies if you count the spiderlings, although they do not have an ability to use. But I think this really expands the variety quite nicely. And just as a reminder from the last devlog, all the enemy abilities that I went over just now will eventually be available to the player to equip through items at some point. So, since the ability system hasn't been applied to the player yet, combat is a little simple right now. Yeah, I get it. You're just smacking enemies around. So let's fix that. And what does every roguelike have that my game is still missing? Bombs. Want to destroy a bunch of rocks? Bombs. Want to hit multiple enemies with a single action? Bombs. Want to destroy walls to discover secret rooms? Bombs. But there are no secret rooms yet, so don't expect that this devlog. The player will start on the first floor with 3 bombs. I have this cool little UI element here that displays how many bombs you're holding. It also turns red and jiggles if you try to place a bomb but don't have any. Bombs can be placed on tiles by right-clicking on a tile that is inside of the player's range. Once the bomb is placed on a tile, it will explode at the end of the turn or when it's attacked, or if another bomb explodes nearby. And be careful, bombs do not discriminate between the enemy or the player. Oh no! Did you place all 3 of your bombs on the first floor? You silly little goose. That's okay. Killing enemies has a chance of dropping more bombs for you to use. I also plan to add more ways to collect additional bombs in the future. Be very careful when you place your bombs, they will destroy everything.
Oh my god!
Because I saw some comments asking for it, I'll put out a long-form gameplay video, but I'll wait a week after this video goes up, that way I can fill the gap between devlogs. Boys, that's all I have for this devlog. Let me know what you think of the new enemy abilities and the bombs. If you like or are interested in what I showed today, make sure to wishlist Penumbra Tower on Steam.
I really need those wish lists.